Good evening, everyone. How are you doing? It's been quite a while. I was doing the book of Genesis with you, and I stopped for a while because of circumstances, but I will be sharing the other chapters with you. You know, sometimes you get so busy doing some very important business. Yes, this business I was doing, I had to take a little break from my program, right? From my channel. So I am back to share with you this afternoon, back to basics with Auntie Rose. Yes, this is your girl Auntie Rose, and I am back with you again to share the book of Genesis with you. Sorry about staying away so long, but it's the Bible and we gotta read it, okay? It's always there for us to read. And the last chapter I was chapter 21. Now I'm gonna be sharing with you chapter 22 and maybe chapter 23. And it says in chapter 22, "And it came to pass after these things that God did tempt Abraham, and said unto him, Abraham, and he said, Behold, here I am. And he said, Take now thy son, thine only son Isaac, whom thou lovest, and get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I tell thee of. And Abraham rose up early in the morning, and saddled his ass, and took two of his young men with him, and Isaac his son, and clave the wood for the burnt offering, and rose up, and went unto the place of which God had told him. Then on the third day Abraham lifted up his eyes, and saw the place afar off. And Abraham said unto his young men, Abide ye here with the ass, and I and the lad will go yonder and worship, and come again to you. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering, and laid it upon Isaac his son. And he took the fire in his hand, and a knife, and they went both of them together. And Isaac spake unto Abraham his father, and said, My father. And he said, Here am I, my son. And he said, Behold the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering? And Abraham said, My son, God will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they went both of them together. And they came to the place which God had told him of. And Abraham built an altar there, and laid the wood in order, and bound Isaac his son, and laid him on the altar upon the wood. And Abraham stretched forth his hand, and took the knife to slay his son. And the angel of the Lord called unto him out of heaven, and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here am I. And he said, Lay not thine hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him. For now I know that thou fearest God, seeing thou hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, from me. And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him a ram caught in a thicket by his horns. And Abraham went and took the ram, and offered him up for a burnt offering in the stead of his son. And Abraham called the name of that place Jehovah Jireh, as it is said to this day, In the mount of the Lord it shall be seen. And the angel of the Lord called unto Abram out of heaven the second time, and said, By myself have I sworn, saith the Lord, for because thou hast done this thing, and hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, that in blessing I will bless thee, and in multiplying I will multiply thy seed as the stars of the heaven, and as the sand which is upon the seashore, and thy seed shall possess the gate of his enemies. And in the seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because thou hast obeyed my voice. So Abram returned unto his young men, and they rose up and went together to Beersheba, and Abram dwelt at Beersheba. And it came to pass after these things, that it was told Abraham, saying, Behold, Micah, she hath also borne children unto thy brother Nahor. Huz is firstborn, and Buz his brother, and Cumiel the father of Aram, and Chast, and Ezer, and Pildash, and Jidlap, and Bethuel. And Bethuel begat Rebekah. These 8 Micah did bear to Nahor, Abraham's brother. And his concubine, whose name was Reumah, she bare also Teba, and Gaham, and Tahash, and Maacah. That is chapter 22. And the moral, I'm going to just share with you the moral lesson of the story of Abraham and Isaac. The moral, as mentioned in the story, Isaac, the son of Abraham, was saved by God himself. Another important lesson that we can learn from the story is that oftentimes when we are faced with adverse circumstances, we must try and believe in doing good, as God will show kindness to those who believed in him. So today, as we have just read the book of Genesis, Genesis chapter 22, may we be inspired by the words of God. And may we read the scriptures daily so that we can understand it and do good as God show kindness to those who believe in him. I will be sharing with you again tomorrow chapter 23 of Genesis. We will be finishing the book of Genesis. Tomorrow I will share with you chapter 23. So as you go throughout today, this afternoon, let us ask God to come into our hearts. Show us love, show us patience, show us temperance, and ask him to help us to live the life according to his will. He wants us to be saved in his kingdom. And so let us just ask him to be present in our lives daily, minutely, hourly, secondly. Let Christ be the center of our lives. Remember to subscribe to my channel, Back to Basics with Auntie Rose, as I share with you the book of Genesis. See you again in my next motivational series. I am your girl, Auntie Rose. Peace out.